Two West African leaders meet President Buhari on matters of mutual interest to their nations and the regional bloc, just as ECOWAS records major success in the socio-political situation in Mali. Plus, governors restate confidence in President Buhari's resolve to reform the Nigerian police, as President of the Senate appeals to protesters to remain patriotic and law-abiding. This is Panorama Live from Abuja. I am Ifoma Ojinta. Various issues of mutual concern dominated discussions as President Muhammadu Buhari played host to his Senegalese counterparts, Macky Sall, and that of Guinea-Bissau, Umaru Sissoco Embalo. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the two visiting leaders applauded President Buhari for his leadership and genuine commitment to peace and stability across the West African sub-region.
This is the first time President Muhammadu Buhari is hosting two West African leaders since the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. Reasons for their visit to Nigeria were not made public, and the high-level discussions held with President Muhammadu Buhari took place behind closed doors. NTA News, however, learned that issues of common interest between their countries were discussed, as well as those affecting the West African sub-region and the entire continent of Africa. Addressing newsmen shortly after, both President Macky Sall of Senegal and that of Guinea-Bissau, Umaru Sissoco Embalo, were full of gratitude to President Muhammadu Buhari for his sincerity of purpose and selfless leadership in the sub-region.
I want to salute the great action of Nigeria against Boko Haram and how Nigeria is supporting the cost of this war, even in all the Chad Basin area. And also his support in ECOWAS, because in Mali, in Niger, and Burkina Faso, we have a very serious situation.
We say thank you very much, President Buhari. We call him Baba. I give this name because his leadership makes some difference in the world. And I have for him in my heart, honest man.
President Embalo recently named a major road in his country's capital city, Bissau, after President Buhari as a mark of appreciation for his enormous contributions to peace, stability, security, and democratic enterprise in Guinea-Bissau. The three West African leaders also discussed the present situation in Mali, which President Buhari had earlier described as welcoming and reassuring.
As you know, ECOWAS was very involved since the beginning. They have 18 months transition, so we help and continue to support this transition, and we hope by the end of December of next year, they will come back to the normal institutional situation, and they will have election, and they can come back very strong.
Key officials of the governments of Nigeria, Senegal, and Guinea-Bissau supported their leaders during the high-level engagement that lasted about 1.5 hours. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has described as welcoming and reassuring the successes recorded by the Economic Community of West African States in addressing the socio-political situation in the Republic of Mali. This was while granting audience to the special envoy and mediator of the sub-regional organization to the West African nation and former president of the country, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo again has the details.
Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, accompanied by the president of the ECOWAS Commission, Jean-Claude Cassibru, was in the State House to update President Muhammadu Buhari on the situation in Mali. The former Nigerian leader told President Buhari that the mission given to him by ECOWAS leaders is almost accomplished, as a government with a large civilian face has been inaugurated. He said both the president, Prime Minister and cabinet ministers have been sworn in, with the military having only 4 portfolios for serving officers. Dr. Jonathan said the government has indeed taken off, while the council, which will work like parliamentarians, will soon be inaugurated. He explained that the chairman of ECOWAS, President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana, would formally brief West African leaders on the matter soon. President Muhammadu Buhari expressed delight that the Mali situation had calmed down considerably following interventions by leaders of the Economic Community of West African States. As he puts it, during the closed-door engagement, we can't hop, step, and jump like other developed nations of the world, but one is delighted at the successes recorded. After the intervention by the military in Mali, ECOWAS had insisted on, amongst others, a transition government led by a civilian and return to constitutional order within 12 to 18 months. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Still from the State House, Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State has expressed absolute confidence in the ability of the federal government to genuinely reform the Nigeria police for effective service delivery in tune with the changing times. Addressing newsmen after an audience with President Muhammadu Buhari, the governor called for patience, understanding and support of all Nigerians as efforts are intensified in the onerous task of achieving sustainable national security and stability for enhanced socio-economic development. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu once again has the details.
Governor Simon Lalong, who is the chairman of the Northern Governors Forum, was engaged by President Muhammadu Buhari on a wide range of socio-political and security issues affecting the region, his state of Plateau, and the entire body politic.
When you see things being done, it's good to also update him to tell him that yes, things are going our way now, because we're seeing training of community policing going on in our various zones. Particularly for me in Plateau State, a lot of them, about 70% of those who recruited for community policing are now in Makodi, having training. Just yesterday in my state, I appointed a new coordinator, an AIG, to take care of it. That is to tell you that things about security should be taken seriously.
On the NSAS protest in parts of the country, the governor applauded the president for not only disbanding the security outfit in response to public outcry, but also his commitment to extensive police reform, saying, however, some states have genuine cases that need to be addressed.
Let us not just say that we are throwing the baby with the bathwater. If there are good ones, you don't chase them away. So as SARS is banned, we are now looking forward to an opinion, because most of the states in the north said no. They want SARS because SARS helped them. A lot of SARS people helped them. But no said if no SARS, he would not have been surviving today. But on the whole, we all agreed that, Mr. President, to still look at these issues. Look at these issues holistically and critically, so that we understand where we're going. But there must be reform, general reform within the police, so that we have a way forward.
Governor Lalong also briefed President Muhammadu Buhari on preparations for the forthcoming National Festival of Arts and Culture to be hosted by Plateau State.
Today, they know what is the status of coronavirus in my state. So business people are trooping into the place. And so we're very happy to invite people to move to Plateau to see the home of peace and tourism. President
Muhammadu Buhari also granted audience to the chairman, caretaker, and extraordinary convention planning committee of the APC, Governor Mai Mala Buni of Yobe State, and his Jigawa State counterpart, Muhammad Badaru Abubakar. Details of their discussions were not made public. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Rising from its monthly meeting, the National Economic Council has directed the immediate establishment of state-based judicial panels of inquiry across the country to receive and investigate complaints of police brutality or related extrajudicial killings, with a view to delivering justice for all victims of the dissolved SARS and other police units in their domains. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
The judicial panel to be set up in all the states would include representatives of youth, students, civil society organizations, and would be chaired by a respected retired state high court judge. The council also directed that state governors should immediately establish a state-based special security and human rights committee to be chaired by the governors to supervise the newly formed police tactical units and all other security agencies located in the state. Regarding the judicial panel of inquiry, each state government is to set up the panel chaired by a retired High Court judge, with other members comprising 2 representatives of civil society groups, one retired police officer of high repute, one youth representative, one student representative, one representative of the state attorney general, and a representative from the National Human Rights Commission. The terms of reference for the judicial panel is to receive and investigate complaints of police brutality and related extrajudicial killings, evaluate evidence presented, and draw conclusions as to the validity of the complaints and recommend compensation and other remedial measures where appropriate. The panel's assignment should be concluded within a maximum of 6 months. In the State House, Jude Onifade, NTA News.
In the related developments, the Inspector General of Police has made a virtual appearance before the Nigeria's Governors Forum on issues surrounding the banned Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad (FSAS) and the recent rise on the spate of protests by some segments of the country. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that this was at the 19th teleconference of the forum under the COVID-19 new normal.
Inspector General of Police Mohammed Adamu explains that the force has disbanded FSAS and initiated a new outfit named Special Weapons and Tactics (SWAT), which will undergo psychological and medical tests before training and deployment across the country. He says the police will leverage on the new Police Act 2020 to carry out extensive reforms and solicit support in actualizing a more popular and acceptable security structure. The IGP regrets ongoing demonstration after the police responded to the call on dissolution of SARS. The Nigerian Governors Forum urged the IGP to continue to partner states in order to secure the nation professionally. The forum is to constitute a panel for compensation for victims of police brutality during the nationwide protest and implement frameworks to meet concerns of only those affected during the social unrest. Nigerian Governors Forum appealed for proper remuneration of the force and regular training for them to be more determined in fighting crimes such as abduction, robbery, banditry, and insurgents, which have become nation's nightmare. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
In the meantime, the armed forces of Nigeria and other security agencies have observed with dismay some violence-related protests across the country, particularly the increasing number of attacks on peaceful protesters by thugs and miscreants. A statement by the Coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, indicates that unfolding events against peace-loving Nigerians will not be condoned. Hence, thugs and miscreants are hereby warned to desist from engaging in violent activities against peaceful Nigerians or face appropriate measures. Major General Enenche notes that the Military High Command duly encourages peaceful citizens to go about their normal activities without fear of intimidation or harassment, as the armed forces of Nigeria and other security agencies are on ground for their safety. The statement stressed that any attempts to undermine the democracy of our beloved nation under any cover will not be allowed, noting that the armed forces of Nigeria remain subordinated to the civil authorities with unflinching loyalty to the President's Commander-in-Chief. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has warned all police officers across the country against the use of force on peaceful protesters. In a statement by Force Public Relations Officer DCP Frank Mba, the IGP notes that citizens have fundamental rights of freedom of expression, assembly and movement, which must always be upheld and protected by the police. The IGP, however, appeals to protesters to continually conduct themselves peacefully and guide their ranks against infiltration by criminal elements. The IGP stresses that the force leadership has clearly heard the voice of the people and is committed to doing everything within its powers to address the observed ills, punish any offending officer, and promote a people-friendly police force. Time now for some messages. Panorama continues shortly. Do stay.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly, with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, cuffing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
Coronavirus is real. Steps to avoid this pandemic. Wash your hands regularly or sanitize your hands. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Stay at home unless absolutely necessary. Don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth if your hands are not clean. Avoid the spread of coronavirus. Coronavirus is real.
Many thanks for staying with us. Now, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has reiterated the commitment of the Buhari administration towards creating a better platform for the Nigerian youth in order to put their talents to use for a greater nation. The Vice President, during a media roundtable at the Presidential Villa in Abuja, says that the Economic Sustainability Plan is designed to help the country cross the bridge into a more prosperous nation. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
The budget. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo explains that much opportunities abound for the youth in the various programs the administration is embarking on, such as the NPA program, which he says the president has increased the number of beneficiaries to 1 million. The Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, which is an initiative to fund 2 million micro, small and medium-scale businesses, and the broadband expansion, as well as huge investment in solar power connections.
What we're seeing today is a bridge that we will cross together, with the young people. I think that what young people need to know is that at least this government, and I'm a part of this government, is one that is thoughtful and one that is sensitive and concerned about them, and that we intend to, do the very best that we can, given the resources that we have. Sometimes it may not seem like that. Sometimes people may say, oh, see what they've just done, see another thing they've just done. But they must also see that we very quickly respond to make amends where we think that things may not be exactly right.
The Vice President also speaks on the debt profile of the country, saying there is no cause for alarm.
I don't think there's any need to panic about debt so long as you're spending the debt on the right things. In our case, our focus has been on infrastructure. So a lot of our debt, so for example, the Chinese debt that we have, is focused on infrastructure. The infrastructure in a country of this size and of this potential, and with the sheer number of individuals who are prepared to do business in this economy, I don't think we should panic at all.
There were also comments on other issues relating to the effective implementation of the Economic Sustainability Plan, and the Vice President expressed the commitment of the administration. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And to legislative matters, the Senate has concluded debate on the 2021 budget as the appropriation bill passes second reading, with emphasis on adequate remittances by ministry, departments and agencies of government. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Onkwo reports.
It was the last lap of a three-day parliamentary debate on the 2021 budget at the Senate. Senators captured the features of Nigeria post-COVID-19 budget, which they believe needs concerted efforts from ministries, departments, and agencies of government.
Committee on Finance and Economic Planning to engage the revenue-generating agencies constantly, almost on a monthly basis.
There are many agencies of government that are supposed to be generating revenues, and they do so, but they don't remit everything that they're supposed to remit.
Let us look at the structure of our governance.
The resolve by the federal government to focus on ongoing projects in the capital component of the budget was described as a lifeline for Nigeria's infrastructural development.
I believe the projects on infrastructure is going on. The other one to sustain the economy is the issue of poverty alleviation.
Commend the government for embarking on various projects, the ones that we have seen that are verifiable, and how best we can rise to the challenges of the day.
The legislators are hopeful that the 2021 budget implementation will be up to 100%. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has called on all Nigerians involved in the End SARS protest to remain patriotic and law-abiding as government is working assiduously to address all their demands, which has already started with the disbandment of the squad.
There is no need to continue the protest. We should allow government to implement the demands that it had accepted from the protesters.
Senator Stella Odua drew the attention of the Senate to the urgent need for the establishment of an intervention fund against flood and other effects of climate change, which appears to be ravaging homes and displacing people.
And to ensure that we have permanent stoppage and minimize effects.
Senate has confirmed the nomination of Nasir Issa Kwara as chairman and 11 others as commissioners of the National Population Commission. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The ongoing dialogue between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities is to continue on Wednesday, 21st October, to enable the leadership consult their organs on the offers and agreements reached at this last meeting. Presenting the outcome of the meeting, Minister of Labour and Employment Chris Ngige said that government pledged to pay 40 billion naira, being the pending academic allowance of university teachers. He explained that out of that amount, 30 billion naira will be paid on or before 6th November, while the remaining 10 billion will be paid spread equally over 2 tranches to be paid on May 2021 and February 2022. Though the federal government agreed to fulfill its financial obligations to ASU members, particularly outstanding salaries and earned allowances, the parties could not agree on the mode of payment. The president of ASU, Professor Biodun Ogunyemi, appealed to government to treat the matter as a national emergency, as the education sector needed urgent attention. Development Commission is steadily reconstructing the Northeast region as the federal government intensifies efforts to completely rid the region of insurgents. Emmanuel Akila reports that in Gombe, the Commission is turning attention to agriculture and youth empowerment for job creation.
Besides the provision of infrastructure and other amenities, the Northeast Development Commission has the mandate of restoring the agricultural potentials the Northeast region is known for.
We have designed very integrated agri programs so that our people will go back to the farm in a more organized, a more value-driven ways.
The Agricultural Mechanization and Modernization Scheme by the Northeast Development Commission, targeted at restoring agriculture in the Northeast region devastated by insurgency, also provide job opportunity for the youths.
Like I see all these machines now, they were not coupled like this, we are the one that coupled it here in Nigeria.
To effectively give the youths a holistic psychosocial therapy, the Commission has set up information communication technology workshops in Gombe, equipped to train the youths to be self-reliant. Civil society organizations have been watching the approach by the NEDC in rebuilding the Northeast region.
They are carrying everybody, every stakeholder is engaged and is involved in the processes.
The Commission inspected facilities for increased opportunities to expand agriculture and the Federal Teaching Hospital Gombe, where it intends to install a polymerized chain reaction machine for testing COVID-19 samples. The Commission is replicating this in the 6 states of the Northeast region. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
And now to COVID-19 updates. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has confirmed 148 new cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria, Thursday, 15th of October. Records indicate that Lagos has the highest figure of those infected with 6